Joining us are Bob and Suzanne Wright of Autism Speaks. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to see you today.
Nice to be here.
When did you first become involved in autism awareness?
When my grandson Christian was diagnosed with autism, at the time Bob was running NBC, and I thought we were pretty informed people. We knew nothing about autism. It was 1 in 166, and here we knew nothing about it when he was diagnosed. So we decided to make it our mission to find out what was causing this epidemic.
When he was initially diagnosed, did you find that it was hard to find the resources that you and your family needed for your grandson?
Well, it was very difficult. It was so thin. You know, I've often said it was like AIDS. When AIDS came along, nobody knew about it. They knew it was, oh my gosh, it's going to be a terrible thing, but no data. There was very, very little data on this. And therapy was, we were told even in Columbia, you know, goodbye and good luck. You know, there are a lot of therapists out there. We don't actually know them personally, but I'm sure you can find them. And that was it. That was the kind of the routine.
It was the most discriminated group of people I've ever come across.
And why do you think that is?
Well, because they had no power. They were so inundated with the autistic child. They had no insurance. Medical coverage wouldn't cover them. The schools gave them a hard time. It was absolutely amazing. They were busted. They were broke. They had no voice in this community. And now Autism Speaks has given them a very, very loud voice.
Well, speaking of a loud voice, let's talk about Light It Up
Light It Up
Blue.
Blue. We started this campaign last year with 200 buildings around the world. This year we're coming up on 1,000. I mean, we have Christ the Redeemer, that statue in Rio overlooking all of Rio. That's going to go blue. The Sydney Opera House, as you saw, the Empire State Building, the entire country of Bangladesh. I mean, the CN Tower in Toronto. We decided to go blue because this is our color, because it's 4-to-1 boys to girls, and that we wanted to shine a bright spotlight around the globe about this global public health crisis.
It must feel really great from just a few years ago to feel like that this has really turned into a global initiative.
Well, it's an effort. You're trying to get traction. Awareness. You have to have awareness. That leads to science and research. It leads to political involvement, and you need that to get the science and the research done. Funding. So it's been a real effort. Suzanne actually came up with this idea for Light Up the Blue. And this only started last year, and it has caught on dramatically, and with people that are involved with autism all over the world, not the people we know or deal with, but they've taken it on themselves to activate in their countries, and this is remarkable.
And it's given a lot of the families globally hope, that there is hope, that people are looking out for their autistic families. Finally, somebody's talking about it. We're on our way to the Intrepid now, which is going to light up blue, with a lot of the schools that have children with autism, to give them all hope and have a day of celebration that we have lit up the world for their cause.
What is the next challenge that you all want to tackle for Autism Speaks?
Well, we have to get the Combating Autism Act, which was passed in 2006, reauthorized. That would normally not be an issue, but in Congress today, getting anything done with all of the delays and everything, this is critical, because this bill will expire in September, and it needs to be redone, and it needs to be a better bill. So this is a real challenge. This is a $1 billion bill over 5 years, so this has to get done. Secondly, we need translational medicines. You need to take the science and translate it into practical therapies or drugs that can be used, and this is a whole separate issue. The NIH gives you the basic science, but you have to get either drug companies or private groups to translate it, and that's a real issue. Even adults with autism, you don't die from autism, so you can have it your whole lifetime, but adults will benefit by services, they'll benefit by therapies. Speech is always an issue, behavioral issues, concentrations, sort of like ADH and things. All of this has to be dealt with, and we're hoping we can get therapies and drugs to do this.
And we also have to provide the insurance coverage in the next 25 states. Yesterday, the 25th state came in. Imagine insurance wouldn't cover them with their therapies. So that's a big challenge for us, and also the federal government.
We have New York State surrounded.
Yeah, we do.
Every state around New York State has wonderful autism insurance for their families. New York, the most liberal state, doesn't have it because they can never seem to get together, and we have worked so hard on this issue, and we got the bill passed. And it got vetoed by the governor at the very last days, and so we're going to start over again for about their 9th year.
We will not stop.
Yeah, it's going to get done.
It's going to get done.
For those our viewers in the chat room who have loved ones or children who are just diagnosed with autism, it can be very overwhelming and scary. What do you recommend is the first step?
The first step I would say is go to autismspeaks.org. We have a wonderful kit. It's called the First 100 Days. I know when we got it, I didn't know where to go. There was nowhere to go. So I would say if I was somebody just diagnosed, go there, go to autismspeaks.org and see if you can get the kit. If you can't, you can always call our office, and we have a family services unit that is happy to help anyone.
Is there a fee for the kit?
You can download it.
No.
Download it.
You can download it from your computer. You can see it on the computer, or you can actually get a hard version of it.
Yes.
And this is actually a related question in our chat room. Cool Jets would like to know, what are the first signs of autism? Like, how can you tell what's going on with somebody?
Well, that's a good question, because we were having signs, and the doctors told us not to worry because Christian was speaking and was meeting his milestones, and he started slipping away. And the doctor said because he was a boy and we had another baby born that, the boys do that. Well, in the day of the autism epidemic, that's not allowed. So I would say that any slippage of language, not meeting the milestones, eye contact, there's flapping of the hands, that's very indicative, walking on the toes. I mean, don't get panicked, but certainly be aware and point it out to your pediatrician. It's better safe than sorry. I know when I was getting a little bit hysterical, I was the hysterical grandmother. Well, you know what? I'd rather be that way and safe, because time is your enemy. The earlier you get this, the better chance you have with this intervention of getting your child back to being a mainstream when he goes to school.
But eye contact is one of the telltale.
Definitely.
Because communication is an issue. And with autistic children or adults, it's not that their minds aren't functioning. It's just that they're taking in so much more data. Or it's coming through their minds so quickly that they can't lock in on it. So staring at somebody is not normally something that they're comfortable doing. Yeah. They're just moving quickly. Yeah. So that's a good sign.
And what about support for parents? Because we did mention it's overwhelming for them, and I'm sure it's important to really have a support group so they can really talk to other people and find out what they're experiencing and how they're handling it.
Yeah, my daughter was in a support group, and there are support groups. Again, you can go to autismspeaks.org. It's very important to have a support group because it is overwhelming. Many of these children, and my grandson included, are up all night long, and they don't have much respite at all unless they're in school. So support groups are very important, and again, they can call autismspeaks.org and we'll help them.
Well, we have a lot of material. We have Facebook. We have Facebook pages and a lot of social networking there. We have Twitter, and the website itself has a lot of deep information where you can go to and access, and it's got phone numbers. It's got places where you can get therapies and things. It's like an enormous encyclopedia for services and things like that. So between all of that, there's plenty of connections you can make quickly.
Now, speaking of therapy, a few years ago, I actually conducted music therapy classes for autistic children, ages 1 through 3. Now, the mindset, at least in my community, was, unfortunately, the kids in that age group weren't given the therapy that they needed. And research was showing that if they get this intervention now, there's a much better chance that they can get into mainstream classrooms at a very early age. Are we still seeing this as an issue nationally?
You mean that they're not getting the early therapy?
Yes.
They have to fight for it everywhere, every school district. They'll give it to you, but you need to fight for it. You also need to know your rights, because every child has a right to the right education. So that is a big issue. Parents need to know they have a force behind them, and we are the force. I mean, we will help them in any way we can in any school district, because they have that right for that music therapy if that's what's helping the child. My grandson had it. We had to pay for it because it wasn't included in the EPA, but that's okay. As long as they can fight for something in their school, they might get it.
But we had Christian had some of his happiest days down at a school in NYU, a music therapy. And the school closed, though. We supported it too, but it became so many of the kids were autistic, and they just couldn't afford to do it. There was no reimbursement, no insurance, and at $100 a session and so forth, they just weren't able to cover the bills, and it was a sad kind of a thing. But that had a real positive impact.
Oh, without a doubt. I personally saw progress over just a couple of weeks.
Isn't that amazing?
And it was remarkable to know that this is all it took.
Well, if there's anyone out there in the music industry that wants to help us, we're all here for you.
But I think the answer to a question from somebody that may be asking, if there is music therapy available in your community, boy, you should really look into it, because there is no downside, and every child isn't going to react perfectly, but it may well be one of the more comforting features.
Bob and Suzanne, thank you so much for joining us on Backstage Live. It was a pleasure having you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Autism Speaks and the world is listening.
We hope to see you soon.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining
Bye-bye.
us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.